have with you the Executive Director of IFOAM, Ms. Louise. We are at the first Agroecology conference, and we are all, the conversation has been all about scaling up agroecology and really how can the African continent embrace it. So from your perspective, why does the African continent really need agroecology?
Well, there are many challenges that the African continent is facing, and there also Africa is not alone. These are global challenges. Let us just speak about healthy food for the people. We talk about climate change. We talk about dwindling biodiversity. But we also talk about a good life and respect for farmers. And we talk also about how we interact with each other and with nature. And there agroecology is actually key. Agroecology can do a lot. So if we relate well to nature, if we work with nature instead of against it, we can actually do a lot of helping solving those problems. Agroecology can first of all, for instance, store carbon in the soils when you do it directly. But it also helps farmers dealing with climate change. When you have a better soil, you can have better water retaining capacity, so it helps them to overcome drought periods. It also helps them to adapt to climate change in the sense that you will have a system that is more stable, that is resilient, and all these things will help us all also again to have more and more nutritious food.
So it's very important also to know that this is always based on science. It's not
absolutely.
These are practices that have already been done and been proven to do exactly that. So those are not theories that are being enforced on farmers across the world.
There are many examples, and we know examples here from in Africa, and we know examples from all over the world. And we also know that some governments, for instance, are so convinced of organic agriculture that they have declared their country of state completely organic. So there's, if you like, no excuse not to do it. It's more to see how we can come there.
Sure. So what do we then need to do to help it scale?
Well, first of all, if we think about the agricultural policies that many of the countries have here in Africa, they're focused on what I would call a productionistic perspective. So, and they are very single-minded. We put in more fertilizer because we want to have more output. But as we know from our daily life and also our interaction with nature, it's not so one-lined. So we have to think in a whole system approach, isn't it?
Exactly.
But as long as the government is subsidizing chemical fertilizers, where's the incentive for farmers to do something else? And a big difference between agroecological and organic agriculture and chemical agriculture is that chemical agriculture is very intensive in terms of input and cost. Agroecological agriculture is intensive in terms of knowledge and knowledge sharing. But that is a little bit more difficult to buy. I cannot say now I subsidize you knowledge. So we need to have other systems in place there.
So it sounds to me it's more of a mentality, trying to cultivate a different kind of mentality or approach on how we're doing our farming.
Exactly, and I like you using the word cultivation. Because of course that relates to agriculture, but it also relates to culture. It's about how do we retain back to our cultures, and many of the cultures also here in Africa, they have a big relation to nature.
So it's also important to notice it's not primitive to have that culture. It's a rich culture, so we have to know how we can prove it with scientific evidence and try to see how we can link it to our betterment.
Thank you for bringing that up, because sometimes there's a suggestion that organic and agroecological agriculture would be backward. Well, I think it's the most future-looking and advanced agriculture that there is, because it wants to be very smart and looks at a very refined system, which is indeed based on science, but also on tradition. Because many of our forefathers have survived this area because they were interacting with nature in such a way that it brought them feed that they could survive, and also that they could survive not only this year, but also the other years. And this is not to be romantic about poverty. That's also one other thing that we sometimes get to hear.
Yeah.
But this is about to be very smart in how to work with nature and how to even help improve it.
Yes. So taking back to organic now, the African continent is obviously a little bit behind, and it's catching up in the world's organic sector, whether it's in cultivation and in trade.
Yeah.
So from your perspective, where do you see the organic sector, especially in Africa?
There are several ways where I see that there is potential.
Yes.
And I wanted to give you one example of what our members in Asia are doing.
Yes.
We are working with municipalities, and there are mayors in municipalities that say, now everything will be organic here. So think about your local market, but also think about the school meals, hospitals, of course, all delivered by the farmers in the municipality.
Yeah.
So there are ideas of getting green regions.
Yeah.
That is really something that can be picked up here.
Yeah.
And this can start small from bottom up. But at the same time we can also have supporting policies to make sure that we can go in that direction.
Yeah, true.
And now, if I think about agroecology or organic here in Africa, I think there's a lot possible in inter-regional trade that we have here, as well as in international trade.
Yeah.
And I think it's good to think about what is the right balance there. But it's also good to know that there is a market and a premium market in, for instance, Europe and the US, where people are willing to pay more for instance, organic coffee. And at the same time, what we have here at the conference, many of the local markets or organic farmers who go to local markets, they don't even ask for a premium.
Yes, yes.
Organic is there for everybody, and especially for those people who want to have a healthy living.
Yeah.
And after all, we all want to be healthy.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
So there's especially we're having a big challenge in terms of trying to convey the right message on what organic really is. From our standpoint, people see it as expensive. It's not the need for someone who wants to eat healthier. So from your perspective and from where you come from, how were you able then to crack that nut? Or was it a case of the consumers already understanding what organic is really about and why is it important to them?
Yeah, I think we have to look at several levels. So at an individual level, as I said, people want to live healthy, and so it also depends on what you eat and what you spend on it, and how you do that. But at a society level, it's also important to think, does organic really cost more? I already said we subsidize on chemical fertilizers. Where's the money of that subsidy coming from? And who is paying actually for the environmental costs that we get through conventional agriculture? So while we think that food is cheap, it comes at a great societal cost. So the suggestion that organic food is expensive is actually not correct. But we pay it through another pocket, as we say. So in the one I have my food, and the other maybe I pay my taxes, or I don't pay for it, but I get the damages in another way. Landslides, illnesses, all the things we talked about here in the conference.
So finally, to wrap it up, so you had the IFOAM Organics International. So you can sort of share with us your vision. Where do you see the world organic moving?
Okay, thank you for asking. I think organic agriculture is an example on how agriculture as a whole can move towards. And we really should be clear that all of agriculture should move on. We should get rid of the most worst practices that are currently there in agriculture. Just ban the most hazardous pesticides that there are. We should get more awareness of consumers so they will ask more local agroecological products. We should make sure that the politicians set the right incentives by their policies. And as we started the conversation, they also have to report against the SDGs. So if they use agroecology for that, they can hit a lot of the SDGs at once. And we also, and that's where we also need to be self-critical, we can still improve organic agriculture. And there are many, let's say, technologies that are being invented there, or smart solutions, and we should be also make able that we learn from each other. So that's where I would like to see that go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time and creating time to have a conversation with us.
Thank you for your interest.